How's it going, guys? I've seen a few movies within the past couple of weeks, and let's talk about them. They are The Woman King and Smile. So let's start off with The Woman King, directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, and it was really damn good. I really enjoyed The Woman King. I heard a lot of great things about it, and I wasn't disappointed. I really dug The Woman King. Let's talk about the story first. It's about an African kingdom named Dahomey, and it's about a clan of female warriors who help protect the kingdom as well as attack other tribes and villages and other kingdoms who wish to overtake it and use their captives, the people they capture as slaves. And so it's sort of a journey to protect their kingdom, to stop other kingdoms from raiding them and selling them off to the British for the slave trade. It takes place in the early 1800s, and it stars. Well, I can't remember her name. Hold on. Viola Davis, and she did an excellent job. She did a really damn good job. I loved her character, and I love a lot of things about this film. I'm not gonna spoil anything because there is. It's not a film I want to spoil. I just want to say the good and the bad, and that you should watch it. Um, let's start with the bad first because there are some things that kind of irked me. It's nothing that's offensive. It's just small little things that I didn't really agree with. The first fight scene, as exciting as it is, I felt the editing. There was a couple of weird editing choices in there. Like I wanted to see longer takes and sequences of the scene that was going on. I felt that it was a little too much editing, but I was able to make out what was going on, and I was still able to enjoy it. Um, you definitely feel the slow pace a little bit at points. It is somewhat of a long film. It's just over 2 hours, and it doesn't feel really long. There's just certain scenes that I felt either didn't belong or they could have been shortened up or there could have been something more interesting going on in them because there are much more interesting aspects in the film, and I just want to get back to those interesting aspects such as the other kingdoms trying to raid them. What else can I say negative? Not can I say, what else do I have to say that I sort of didn't agree with? There is a the ending to the film I felt lasted just a tad too long, although there were some things that needed to be tied up and touched on and explained. There was just one specific shot I wish the film would have ended on, or if those things came before this specific shot that I wish the film would have ended on in a specific moment, because I felt that would have made the film much more impactful because after that specific shot and that specific scene, then it kind of feels like, oh, we forgot to tie these things up. Let's tie them up real quick and acknowledge them, because there are certain things that are important that need to be acknowledged and that are acknowledged. But I feel like it should have happened before this specific shot in this specific scene. Um, I guess that's really it in terms of the negatives. Actually, there is a specific plot point in the film that I found to be just a tad bit too coincidental. I'm not gonna spoil it because it is a big spoiler for the film and for specific characters. But for the story it's telling, it definitely works, but it just feels a little too. I don't want to say much. It just feels like it's like very coincidental. Like, what are the odds of that very specific thing happening in terms of these characters and certain revelations that are found out? All right, now let's go on to the positives because I do have a lot to say. I thought the score was really enjoyable. There are some very beautiful moments and a lot of great, exciting moments in the score. The score elevates the film much more than it already does on its own. The score I found really good. I really enjoyed it and I want to listen to it again. The action scenes, although I was saying that the editing choices were a little too quick in the first scene, the rest of them are really enjoyable. And I'm not saying the first one isn't enjoyable, but the rest of them are really cool. And it's a really violent and bloody movie. That's what I really appreciated about it too. It's not afraid to show blood and people getting their heads chopped off and getting stabbed and getting killed in very gruesome ways. There are some of the female warriors with like really long fingernails, and they use them to claw at people and stab them in the eye and stuff. It's really cool. I'm a sucker for violence and action stuff like this. It was really cool. I love the costume design. It all looked really authentic. I'm not an expert when it comes to time periods, but it all looked really detailed. And the sets, I don't know if the sets were pre-existing buildings or if they were built for the film, but otherwise they just look really nice, and it looks like it fits the time period. Like I said, I'm not an expert on the time period, but they just look old and they look really nice to look at. It's a very good looking film too. I like the direction of the film. I like certain shots. I like the camera framing and the camera movements, and it's a really well directed film. Um, and the acting all around is really good. Although there are certain characters that I'm not as invested in as other characters, I thought everyone did a really good job. Everyone did what they had to do to make me care for these characters, even though some aren't as interesting as others. And it's a somewhat humorous film at points. I found myself chuckling. And another thing I do want to say, though, more so on the negative side, is that there are certain moments that are supposed to be emotional, although I didn't feel gripped by them. I could understand the intent, and I could feel it working for a lot of people. It just didn't work for me, although I could see what they were going for. But I think that's all I really want to say about The Woman King. I just want you guys to go watch it. It's a really damn good movie. I really enjoyed it, and I think on further watches, I would enjoy it a lot more. But as of now, I'm gonna give The Woman King a B plus. It's just a really damn good movie. Go check it out. I highly encourage watching this film. Viola Davis is stunning in this film. She gives it her all. All the cast does a really good job, and it's a technically well-made film. And yeah, go check it out. I haven't heard a single bad thing from people who talked about it. Everyone who I've heard talk about it say they really liked it. And I tell people at work, go check out The Woman King. It was really good. So yeah, go check it out. It's a really good film. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to watch it again at some point in the future. All right, now let's talk about Smile. Smile is directed by one Parker Finn. Let me see. Yep, Parker Finn. This is the directorial debut of said director, the feature directorial debut of said director. He also wrote this film, and by being as nice as possible, you can tell this is the first time director in a film. And I want to say that I didn't like this film in terms of its intent. I enjoyed it because I found it funny as fuck. This is an extremely unintentionally funny film, and I can understand the intent everyone was going for making the film. They wanted to be scary. I didn't find it scary. This is a horror film, just so you know. Smile. I want to talk about the plot first and certain filmmaking aspects before I go into maybe spoilers. We'll see how I feel about it. So, Smile is about a girl named Rose, I believe. Is that her name? Yeah, Rose. She's a doctor. She's a doctor, essentially, and she likes helping people, even though it's bad for the company because you're taking these people in who aren't insured here, yada yada, whatever. So one day she gets a patient who claims that she's seeing things, and these things are smiling at her, and it's a thing that's trying to get inside of her. So the patient freaks out, and then she creepily smiles at Rose and kills herself right in front of her. And then the same thing starts happening to Rose. She starts seeing things, and she starts seeing people smile at her. And then it's a ticking clock to figure out what's going on and what's going to happen to Rose. And, what did I think about this film that was good? because I do have a lot of negatives to say about this film. It looks nice. It's sharp. I didn't like a lot about this movie. I really didn't. I mean, what I liked about the film was that I had a good time and I enjoyed it. A bunch of coworkers said, "Hey, let's go see this film." And I said, "Hell yeah." I wasn't going to watch it initially, but because they invited me out, I was like, "Okay, let's watch a movie." And we all seemed to have a good time. Some thought it was good, some thought it wasn't. I was one of those people that thought it wasn't. I found it really goofy. I don't find the smiles scary. It's, oh no, someone's smiling at me very creepily, and that's not supposed to be, That's weird. I found it funny as fuck. Every time there was someone smiling in a very creepy manner, it looked funny as hell and very goofy. Um but I could see the intent of, oh, someone's smiling creepy and it's supposed to look creepy and make you feel unsettled. What else can I talk about before I want to talk about spoilers? Let's see. I found the score to be very annoying. It's a lot of droning sounds to make it sound creepy. Like, oh, this is something unsettling and it's very creepy right now. I found it annoying. And I felt it was trying way too hard at every moment the score was introduced. I was like, no. You're trying to wait. It reminded me of Don't Worry, Darling, how that score, although I found the instrumental pieces good at points, there are the moments where there's a lot of the chanting and the sharp breathing in Don't Worry, Darling in the score. I found that to be very try hard and annoying. Like, oh, this is supposed to be very unsettling. I felt that way about this film, except there wasn't a lot of chanting. It was just a lot of weird droning sounds. It reminded me of Hereditary too. There are some certain pieces of Hereditary that I like in the score. It's just a lot of it sounds like noise for the sake of noise, because it would be weird just to have a shot with no noise to it. That isn't what the mic is picking up, even though there's not a lot of dialogue or anything. But yeah, nothing about the score in this film was interesting to me. Let's see. And when I earlier I said you can tell this is a first time director, there is a sequence that I made a mistake in one of my skits. If you remember, there's a skit that I did called Mr. Cock, Me versus Me, Mr. Cock. The two of me's are talking and they're looking at each other, but we're on the same side of the frame. As in, even though we're looking at each other, we're on the left side of the frame, I believe. And something like that happens in this film. I said, oh, you gotta be kidding me. No one looked at this and thought it looked weird. Yeah, that was just something I noticed. I'm like, come on, you no one noticed this. That's a mistake I would have made in my skit, which I did about a year ago. That's just no. And there's a lot of weird canted angles, a lot of slanted canted angles for no reason. I don't get the intent of those. I saw those and I went, why? It's just a character in a room, like putting on a jacket or something. Why does the angle need to be like this? And there's a lot of drone shots of the city, like upside down or something. Like, did I get a ticket for Inception? Am I seeing upside down worlds for a reason? Except we need to pad the runtime a little bit and have more droning sounds to make it sound like it's very creepy and unsettling and that something strange is going on. I found a lot of those shots just to be unnecessary and annoying. What else? This is a very boring film as well. Although I get the setup, it is a rather interesting setup, I would say. It's just that there are a lot of scenes where it feels like, come on, why are we paying attention to this right now? Or why is it lasting as long as it is? God. Yeah, there are points where I was just really bored. How long is this film, by the way? Let's see. It is a 115-minute film, so it's almost 2 hours long. And at points, it definitely felt long. Initially, this was going to be on Paramount Plus. This was just going to be a Paramount Plus release until some people, I don't know who, had a reaction and thought this was a good movie in test screenings and stuff. So Paramount was like, "Oh, we're releasing it in theaters," and it's successful. It grossed over $100 million worldwide, and a film was successful, so that's good. I'm just not a fan of it, and I mean, I enjoyed it immensely because of how unintentionally funny it was. I'll get to those moments in a little bit, but like how I found Barbarian funny, that was like stupid though. This is funny unintentionally, but I was laughing a lot more than Barbarian. Barbarian is just like really long and boring, and it's structurally it's a mess. With this film, at least I can get the structure, and it sort of runs smoothly, but it's just really fucking boring and uninteresting at points. And once the revelation is revealed about what's going on, the film makes no sense because why it could have ended a lot earlier. And there aren't specific rules that are set up. And I will say this. Let's say this real quick. All the jump scares in the film is just a cutting away to a character and they're smiling very creepy. Or they're smiling and it's supposed to be creepy, but I found it goofy. I also found it annoying though because it was accompanied by a very sharp piece of music and it's supposed to be scary that way. I'll admit I got startled. Not because of seeing a smile, but because of a very sharp piece of music. It reminded me of the Black Phone from earlier this year, where although there was frightening imagery that was revealed, it wasn't a some of them weren't a jump scare where it just cut away to something and rah right there, you know? It was something that a shot built up to. All the jump scares in this film are just rah! It just pops out of nowhere, and it's really fucking annoying. And I noticed this in one of the trailers where there's a jump scare where the shot has a little bit of build up and the character screams at the Rose character as she's on her laptop. In the movie, it just cuts away to the character screaming at Rose on her laptop. That was very fucking annoying because it's just a really loud piece of music. The imagery isn't scary. The smiles aren't scary. They're just really fucking goofy. And especially a couple of them are really fucking goofy. One of them actually looks fine, but for the most part, they're just really goofy and really funny. And one of them has like a demon voice or something, and I found that demon voice very funny. And also at that point, the film could have ended, but it didn't want to for some reason. Yeah, okay. What I originally wanted to say with this was there is one actually terrifying, very fucked up, and legitimately cool shot in the film. And scary. One scary shot in the film that actually is scary. Much like that specific shot in Hereditary. I'm not going to say what it is in case you haven't seen it. But that one shot in Hereditary, you know what I'm talking about if you've seen the film. That's kind of what this shot did to me. It's a very specific shot. It's something that's built up. It's not, oh, we're going to cut away and rah! No, it's something that has build-up. It's a shot with progression and something moving. And it has time to become scary. And I couldn't tell if it could have been a practical. Of course it was CG, but I want to know if it was practical or not. Could have been. I could have been tricked. But the shot that I'm talking about, and if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about, is legitimately cool and actually scary. And then the film ends after that, and it sucked. Okay, so let's get into spoilers now. I don't want to talk about spoilers for too long. I just want to say a couple of specific things about the film that I do need to talk about spoilers for. So if you don't want to hear spoilers for Smile, click to this time in the video. There's your warning. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So it turns out that there is this being, this creature, this monster that is trying to get into Rose, that got into the first patient that killed herself in the film. There's this monster that's going to do the same thing to Rose. It wants to get inside of her and make her kill herself in front of someone else and pass that curse along. And so it turns out that there's a long line of people who killed themselves because the monster got into them and made them kill themselves in front of someone else. I like that idea. I think it's interesting. It's just that the smiles, they're not scary. They're really goofy. None of them work. And I've had certain conversations with people, and they said that there are certain moments that could be intentionally made to laugh at, like campiness. I don't think that's the case. I really think that all these were meant to be scary. Like, ooh, the smiles are so scary. Don't you think that's scary because they're smiling at you, and it's supposed to be creepy because people don't smile at you like that? They had like what would you call it? Like a PR or something where people went to baseball games and smiled very creepily like to promote the film. That's stupid. That's stupid. Oh God. Oh. But anyways, Rose is just on this journey to figure out what's going on and how to prevent it. I don't even want to talk about this film anymore. I really don't. Because I didn't like this movie. As a movie, I enjoyed it as entertainment in terms of having a good laugh because it is very unintentionally funny. Let's talk about the birthday scene. So, Rose has this sister who's all like, come to my son's birthday party. You always work, yada yada. And so she gets him a present, and it's amidst her. She puts the toy in the wrapping paper in the box, yada yada, and then like she's seeing things, and oh, someone tripped the alarm in her house, yada yada, but she doesn't know who it is. No one knows who it is. The police found no one. And then at the birthday party, the kid opens the box and he pulls out a cat, the dead cat. It's her Rose's cat, but it was it was funny. It was really funny. And then everyone's like looking at her. She's like, I didn't do this. I'm not crazy. And then she sees someone smiling at her, but the person's not there. And then she like takes a step back and then falls into a glass table. It's just the editing and the progression of that scene was just so fucking funny. Like, people laughed in the theater, and I wasn't ashamed to laugh because it was fucking funny. It was really funny. It was worth the price of admission for that scene. That and the last scare of the film. But let's see. She ends up asking her old cop boyfriend, who was her ex now, like, hey, can you help me figure some stuff out, like, on these people, because my patient said she saw a professor kill himself, and then it turns out that the professor saw someone kill himself or herself, and then so on and so forth, and the cop discovers this stuff, like, oh, this person watched someone kill themselves, and then, so on and so forth. What's funny is that no one found a link to this beforehand. No one thought it was weird. None of the police thought it was weird or anything. I don't remember how far it goes in terms of the city. But Rose found someone who didn't kill himself but had the curse, but killed someone else in front of somebody else. So it turns out that guy had the curse, and he somehow discovered that killing someone in front of somebody else would spread the curse to the person who saw it. Which is an interesting setup. It reminds me of the Final Destination. I think it was it the Final Destination or Final Destination 5? Whichever the newest one was at this point. I know they're making another one, but I think it's the 5th one, where someone realized that he can pass the curse on if he kills someone, or kills someone who's involved in the curse. So I think that's an interesting idea. How they discovered that, I don't know. I'm not going to really knock it for it, though. It's just an interesting concept. And it does lead to an interesting, not an interesting scene. It leads to a dream sequence, which is a dream sequence at one point during that sequence. And when I saw the dream sequence, it's Rose going to try to kill one of her patients. Rose is going to try to kill one of her patients at the hospital, who's like insane. He's crazy. And when she stabs him, and then he starts laughing creepily, I'm like, oh, this is a dream sequence. It's not real. And then it cuts back to her in her car, and she's freaking out. That was really funny. And then she keeps seeing people smiling at her. There's a scene with a psychiatrist character. Rose has a psychiatrist who she makes an unannounced visit on, and the psychiatrist is cool with that. But then once her fiance talks to the psychiatrist at the house waiting for Rose, Rose is flipping out like, "Why'd you come unannounced?" Yada, I'm like, bitch, you came here unannounced. You went to her unannounced. Yada yada. Also, all the acting is kind of bad from everyone else. Hold on. The birthday party sequence leads to a scene in which Rose talks to her sister, and then they're like, yada yada, what about mom? You left us, and I had to deal with mom and her craziness. You reminded me of mom because you're going crazy. That scene felt like it came out of nowhere. Like, whoa, hold on. We saw the mom character like in the first shot dead. Okay. And that was never touched on again until the psychiatrist was all like, are you feeling, like when Rose meets the psychiatrist, she's like, are you feeling guilt? Yada yada. And I'm like, hold on, guilt about what? Did she like kill her mom? And we never touch upon that until that scene with Rose and her sister. And I'm like, okay, what is she doing? But they never keep wanting to touch upon it until the third act, when Rose realizes that she's fucked because the doctor sees Rose with a knife at the hospital, thinking she's gonna harm herself because she's going insane. Because like, hey, you're going insane, Rose. We're gonna put you. We're gonna give you a week's leave, a week off. So then the cop boyfriend ex is all like, hey, what the fuck happened? There's like a call out for you. What the fuck? And so she decides to go to her old house that she still has in like the woods or something. So the curse can't get to her because if she's not around anyone, she can't hurt anyone or pass the curse on to anyone. So she decides to be there by herself. And then she has a weird dream sequence where she sees the monster, but it's like in the shape of her mom, and then it grows bigger, but it looks really goofy and unintentionally funny. And I laughed because like it had like big eyes and like a long face. It was just funny. And then like she kills it and burns the house down. She's like, okay, I got rid of it because she talks about like how her mom was like, it's revealed that her mom did like a bunch of drugs and stuff, and she let her die instead of calling 911. So she felt guilty about that, and it seems like the monster is only there to like feed off the guilt and feed off of like what's making her feel so messed up inside, and then it'll get inside of her. And so a lot of people are talking about, oh, it's like mental, it's a play on mental illness, and I guess I can see the intent. I just don't think it was executed well because of how not well set up this specific arc was. And then it leads into another dream sequence, which is all like, hey, cop ex-boyfriend, can I stay at your place? I think everything's better now. And the cop boyfriend's like, ha ha, I'm smiling now, ha ha. And then she wakes up at the house, and then the monster's like, I'm never gonna leave you, ha ha ha. And then it gets into the really, really cool shot. The big monster. I don't know if it's like the mom that does it, or I don't remember if it's the mom vision that does it, or if it's like the monster character that does it. But what she does is she like rips open her face to like a legitimately terrifying monster face with like a bunch of smiles deep inside to resemble like how many people it took, like how many people killed themselves to get to, how many people it killed, basically. How many people it got to kill itself, and then it basically, embodies all of those smiles. Like, I thought that shot was terrifying. Why it was terrifying is because it wasn't like a rah, like it cut away to a rah. It was a shot that was long and continuous and built up to something. It built up to something scary. It wasn't a jump scare. It didn't cut away to something. It was a shot that moved. Well, it didn't move. It was steady. The shot was steady, still. But the monster basically just ripped its face open. It didn't cut to anything. It was that. And it was fucking cool and scary and terrifying, honestly. And then it got into Rose's mouth, and then the cop boyfriend shows up to the house, and then Rose takes her sweet time to drench herself in gasoline and then strike a match to light herself on fire. And the cop boyfriend's like, oh, I'm standing still, not doing anything about it. Oh, Rose, what are you doing? Even though I know basically everything that's going on in the story because we did this together. Oh, what are you doing, Rose? Ah. And then she lights herself on fire. Then the film ends as the shot goes into the eye of the cop character with the reflection of the Rose character burning on fire. I knew the Rose character was going to die at the end of the film. But the film wasn't unpredictable. I just wasn't interested in caring as to what was going to happen next. So I didn't think, oh, this is what's going to happen. I just knew the Rose character was going to die. Also, there's a very, 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 very funny shot of the kid character. So when Rose goes to see her sister to explain what's going on, yada yada, and then the sister character goes inside. She goes, "You traumatized my son, by the way." Yada yada. And so Rose in her car, and there's this long shot of the sister character coming out of the house, walking to the car, and the shot's in the trailer. Her head, like, it's above the door frame of the car. It's above the window, and her head, like, her neck becomes really long all of a sudden, and just flips down to be revealed in the windshield. In the window of the car, the window of the car door, and with a really goofy looking smile. It was funny as hell. It's not scary because it was also accompanied by a very sharp, loud piece of music. So fuck that noise. Literally, fuck that noise. Fuck all these jump scare noises. Because I'm not scared by jump scares like that. That's not going to stick with me. The shot of the monster is going to stick with me. Not, oh, the head flipping upside down. Or just random people like, smiling. The therapist, hold on. The kid, we see a shot of the kid like mean mugging the Rose character from his window. And it's so fucking funny. Everyone in my fucking theater was laughing at it. Also, okay, I want to get to the therapist scene real quick. So, I guess the fiance and the Rose character having marriage troubles with each other. Not marriage troubles, but relationship troubles, because he's like not believing her. And she keeps breaking glasses. She keeps dropping glasses because of the monsters, the demons that are getting to her. So the therapist character is all like, "Hey Rose, sorry about stopping by and talking with your fiance the other day. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to impose. I just wanted to get the bigger picture and see if you were okay." And then she gets a phone call, and it's a therapist character basically saying the same thing. And Rose is like, "What?" I didn't expect that. I just didn't care. But other people around me were like, "Oh, it's not going to be the therapist character. It's the monster." And then the therapist character gets a smile, and the smile looks goofy. It doesn't look scary. And then it has the demon voice, and the demon voice sounds stupid. And then it starts walking over some stuff. And then it like chokes Rose, but then like Rose is just somewhere else after. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Why is the demon taking its sweet ass fucking time to do this? The demon could have just fucking took her over right there. Hell, if it was the demon that fucking put the fucking cat in the box and gave it to the son character, the nephew character for the birthday, why didn't he just take her over then? It's not like there needs to be a certain amount of pain that this character has to go through for the demon to go, okay, I'm going to get into it now. No, That's not set up. It's or that's not the rule. Like that isn't explained. The demon character the demon character just fucking around. Like, haha, I wonder how many scares I can get this girl to get scared. Haha. So the therapist scene, the film could have ended there. The therapist monster could have just fucking took over Rose, and then find someone and kill herself in front of that person, or wait until A Train comes home. A Train being the guy, I don't know the guy's name, the actor who plays the fiance character, but he's A Train from The Boys, and he's not that good in the movie. It's the dialogue and the script he's given. From the clips I've seen of The Boys, he's good in there. But he's not good in here because not a good script, and he's not given much to work with. And so, yeah. Well, what was I saying about the therapist? Oh yeah, and one of my friends was saying, well, maybe they need to be around other people and then take over there. But if that's the case, the Rose character, because in the beginning of the film, hold on. So my friend was explaining, like, maybe it needs to be around, the monster needs to take over someone's body around other people. Because, like, maybe the person will be just momentarily stuck until someone pops up and go, oh, I'm going to kill myself in front of you now. The demon could have took over the Rose character. Like, the curse got passed on to the Rose character in the beginning of the film when the patient killed herself in front of Rose. But what could have happened is that the monster could have just fucking took over Rose right then and there, because a bunch of people came in to take care of the lady that killed herself. So the monster could have took over Rose, killed herself in front of all those people, and passed the curse on to everyone who was there. And it's not like there's a bunch of rules established to say that can't happen or whatever, because we get a scene of a guy killing himself with some shears, some hedge clippers, whatever, in front of some lady in a gas station. So we see this guy walk over and do it. And it's not like we saw the guy get turned. It's not like we saw the monster go into the guy beforehand and do it. We just presume that it happened at some point before he walked over to the gas station to do it. I'm rambling on about this movie for no reason. It's a stupid fucking movie. It really is. I mean, I hope this director, Parker Finn, gets more work and makes a better film. I don't want to dog the guy too bad because it is his first feature-length directorial debut. I mean, it is his first feature-length film. What I just said was an oxymoron. Is that the right word for it? But anyways, I don't want to dog the guy too hard because it is his first film, his first feature film. But it's just, there's a lot of stuff in there I didn't really like. I want to be back on to the directing and why I didn't think certain scenes were directed well. I already explained the two characters on the same side of the frame as they're talking to each other in the same direction, even though they're on the same side of the frame. So it's like this. If I hope this works out. It's like if I'm here talking to someone in that direction, and the other person is talking to me in the same direction, like where I'm looking at the same person, same direction, but we're just on the same side of the frame. Actually, I don't remember if they were on the same. I know they were looking at each other. No, I believe they were looking at each other, but they were on the same side of the frame. They were on the left side of the frame, but you could tell they were looking at each other. It's just they were on the left side of the frame. Whatever. I don't give a shit anymore. I think I've talked about all the spoilers I wanted to talk about in this film. Smile. Any final thoughts? The actress's name who plays Rose, Sosie Bacon. Is that Kevin Bacon's daughter? I want to check real quick. Yeah. Sosie Bacon is the daughter of Kevin Bacon. And I thought she did a good job, actually. I didn't think it was a good script, but I think she did her best to feel traumatized. She didn't do a bad job. Like how the characters in The Barbarian didn't do a bad job, more specifically in the first act. I think Barbarian is still a giant hunk of shit. This is just a less painful hunk of shit. Because I laughed throughout the whole time. Barbarian's just more boring. This film's boring too. That's really all I can say about the positives and the negatives and the spoilers about the film Smile. I'll say that I had a blast watching this movie. It was so funny. Only one scary shot. I hope the film's successful already. I just hope this director makes better products and makes better films. I don't want to dog the guy too bad. I don't. But it's just, yeah. I'm giving this film a D. I gave Barbarian a D-. I'm giving this film a D solely for the fact that it was so damn enjoyable. A much more enjoyable film than Barbarian. And it actually had an actual scary shot. So yeah, those are my thoughts on those two films. I'm looking forward to seeing more films. I'm looking forward to seeing The Banshees of Inisherin. Maybe I'll go see Bros. I want to help it out because it's kind of bombing at the box office right now. I'm still looking forward to The Whale and The Triangle of Sadness. And I think Marcel, the Shell with Shoes On is going to be on Blu-ray soon. And just everything else coming out in this year. So yeah, tell me what you thought about the film The Woman King or the film Smile in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Tell me what you thought about those films. Tell me what you thought about my thoughts on the films. And I'll be back with more enjoyable content like this. So yeah, bye.